Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the various blessings that He has bestowed on us. وَالْأَنْعَامَ, and the grazing livestock. خَلَقَهَا, He has created it. The an'am that you enjoy, the an'am that you eat, that you benefit from, where did they come from? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created them. And you know that an'am, it includes ثمانية أزواج, remember? من الضأن اثنين, ومن المعز اثنين, ومن الإبل, ومن البقر, sheep, goat, cows, as well as camels. So the an'am, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created. And these an'am, lakum fiha, for you in it, there is dif'un, warmth, wa manafi'u, and benefits, wa minha ta'kulun, and from them you eat. So these an'am that He has bestowed you with, they are a multi-purpose creation. You can enjoy many benefits of them. And all of those benefits are what? That first of all, through them you obtain dif'un. Dif is from the root letters dal, fa, hamza. And dif is the opposite of barad. And what does that mean? Cold. So dif is warmth, heat. And lakum fiha dif'un, for you in the grazing livestock is warmth. What does it mean by that? That you can make clothing out of their skin, out of their wool and fur, as well as their skins when you make leather out of that. So first of all, in the form of clothing, winter clothing. Like for example, leather jackets. Similarly, woolen sweaters and socks. So first of all, clothing. Secondly, this also includes the tents that the Arabs would make out of the skin of these animals. And these tents, they would protect them from wind as well as cold. And not just tents, but blankets, bedding. All of this is made from what? From the skin, from the fur, the hair of these animals. Similarly, dif'un, warmth that is obtained from these animals is how? That when we eat these animals, when we eat their meat, then with that, our body, it has energy. There is some fat in our body through which we stay warm in colder temperatures. Isn't it so? And if a person does not eat meat, then he does not have enough iron, he does not have enough fat, you can say, in his body, which is why in colder weathers he will feel extremely cold. Similarly, lakum fiha dif'un also is that, and this is something very amazing, that their breathing, that even creates warmth. Do you know that? Like for example, in winter, if you ever go into a barn, and all of these grazing livestock are together, you will actually feel warm over there. Because as they breathe, the place around them, it becomes warm. And many times, people where they lack such things such as heat or power, in such situations, they huddle around, they come closer to their animals, and from their body heat, they obtain warmth. Can you imagine? So, lakum fiha dif'un. For you in these animals is dif'un. Wa manafi'u, and benefits. Manafi' is a plural of manfa'a. Meaning, and other benefits. What kind of benefits are found or can be obtained from these animals? For example, their milk. What else? They carry loads for transportation. What other manafi' can be obtained from these animals? Unfortunately, we haven't used them. Therefore, we don't even know about the various benefits. In farming, in plowing, they're used. For carrying water, for irrigation, they are used a lot in farming. Even their manure, it is used for making fire. People use it for even their houses. Do you know that? And it's a perfect fertilizer as well. So many manafi', natural fertilizer. You don't have to buy anything. And buying and selling them. That when a person has a herd of sheep or goats, then obviously they're going to multiply. And as they multiply, he can sell them. And from that, he can obtain money. So they are a source of income. They are a source of income. And many people, they have such animals, they sell their milk or they sell their meat They're a source of income for their families. Similarly, these animals, they reproduce very quickly. Very quickly they reproduce, especially the an'am. The sheep and the goats, they reproduce very quickly. So because of that, the benefits are multiplied. So there are various benefits that can be obtained from these animals. وَمِنْهَا تَأْكُلُونَ, and from it you also eat. Meaning, some of these animals you eat as well. The an'am that you own, some of them you eat, and others you keep for your work. And what do you eat of these animals? Everything. From the brain, to the liver, to the feet, to even the lungs. Everything is consumed. Just recently, I bought some liver, and there was another packet that was given to me, and I'm like, what on earth is this? I had no idea what it was. And I was asking people around, and I found out that it was actually lungs. And I was told that people actually eat it. I was like, I have no idea how to cook it or how to eat it even. Just the thought of eating it is a bit strange. But we see that وَمِنْهَا تَأْكُلُونَ, these animals, every part of their body is useful. Every single part. And it's not just the meat that we eat of these animals, but the milk that they produce. From the milk, there are so many things that we produce. From your ice cream to your butter to your cream and your cheesecakes and so on and so forth. The list is endless. In Surah Yasin, ayah 72 and 73, we learn, وَذَلَّلْنَاهَا لَهُمْ فَمِنْهَا رَكُوبُهُمْ وَمِنْهَا يَأْكُلُونَ وَلَهُمْ فِيهَا مَنَافِعُ وَمَشَارِبُ أَفَلَا يَشْكُرُونَ. And we have tamed them for them. Meaning these animals have been tamed for who? Human beings. Just the fact that they're so easy to control. Just imagine if they were vicious as dogs and lions. How difficult it would be to control them. So we have tamed them for them. So some of them they ride, and some of them they eat. And for them therein are other benefits and drinks. So will they not be grateful? Will they not be grateful for the creation of the an'am? وَلَكُمْ فِيهَا, and for you in it. In what? In the an'am. There are for you jamalun, there is for you jamalun, beauty. And what is beauty? What is jamalun? Jamal is elegance. Basically, it is such beauty that is visible. Such beauty that is visible. That when you see something, you find it beautiful. And we notice that jameel is also used for sabr. Because when a person is being patient, and when you see them being patient, you see them, it's beautiful. The fact that they're not complaining, the fact that they're not crying, the fact that they're not yelling. And if somebody says that they're being very patient, but they begin to cry and yell and scream, do you like their patience? No, that's not patience at all. So وَلَكُمْ فِيهَا جَمَالٌ, for you in these animals is beauty. حِينَ, at the time when, تُرِيحُونَ, you all bring them in for the evening. وَحِينَ, and at the time when, تَسْرَحُونَ, you send them out to pasture. So the time when these animals are coming back home, after spending the entire day grazing, at that time as they're coming back, that scene is so beautiful. And in the morning when you let them go for pasture, even that scene as they're going, as they're running away, even that scene is so beautiful. So we see that amongst the benefits that these animals give to the human beings is also beauty. Is also beauty. Especially at the time when they're sent and when they're brought back from pasturing, from grazing. Turihuna is from the root letters ra, waw, ha, from the word rawh. Ruh. Rawh means relief, comfort. La tay'asu mir rawhillah. And it also means rest, to put something to ease, to let something rest. And turihuna iraha is to put someone to rest, to let them have rest, to put them to ease. From the same root is the word rawah. And rawah is the time after zuhr. Rawah is the time after zuhr. Because that is the time that when people like to take some rest. Or rather it is masnoon to take rest at that time. The qaylula. Right? The afternoon nap. Because in the morning, from sunrise up until zuhr time, what is recommended? That we work. And at that time we take some rest and then again we get to work. So rawah is the time after zuhr. And from this, the word rawah is also used for taking rest in the evening. Taking rest in the evening. It is said, arahna ibilana, meaning we gave rest to our camels when? In the evening. So basically, when the animals have gone for the entire day, they're grazing, they're eating. Or for example, they are being made to work the entire day. In the evening, what happens? They're brought back to their barn. Isn't it? In the evening, they're brought back to their barn. Why? To rest, to take a break. So at the time when they're coming back, at the time when you're bringing them back from their pasture to their barns, that scene is extremely beautiful. وَحِينَ تَسْرَحُونَ. تَسْرَحُونَ from the root letter sin raha, from the word suruh. And suruh is to go away, it is to graze. And sarh is such a tree that is full of fruit. Sarh is such a tree that is full of fruit. So, saraha tasrahu is to take animals for pasture, to let them graze freely, to send them so that they can graze freely. So at the time that you're sending them in the morning to graze, even at that time, that scene is very beautiful. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَكُمْ فِيهَا جَمَالٌ. For you, in it is jamal. If you notice, the evening is mentioned first, and the morning is mentioned second. Why do you think so? Because the evening time is more beautiful. You know why? Because the animals are coming back content and satisfied with their bellies full, and it's time to milk them very soon. And the morning, as they're leaving, just as children when they're going to school, sometimes they're cranky, because they're still hungry. So in the morning, as they're leaving, they're hungry at that time. But in the evening, as they're coming back, the scene is more beautiful. So what do we see in this ayah? That in these animals, the benefit is not just the food and the drink and their skins and the travel that we use these animals for, but rather in these animals is also a lot of beauty. And this beauty is also a blessing. Just the scene of them leaving and coming back, it pleases you. It makes you very happy. It makes you very proud, especially the owner. Just as, for example, if a person owns a car and it is driven out and it is driven back in, how does he feel? Very proud. It's only one car. And if a person has a flock, has a herd, and that entire herd is going and coming back, imagine how happy he must feel. وَلَكُمْ فِيهَا جَمَالٌ. So what does this show to us? That happiness is not just acquired by eating good food or by wearing nice, comfortable clothes, but rather good scenery is also something that pleases a person. It is also something that makes a person happy. Therefore, it is extremely important that we keep our environment such that when we look around ourselves, we feel happy. In the sense that the things in our house, they are clean, they're organized, they're put in their right places. Because if our house is always messy, then every time we look at those things, how are you going to feel? Upset, isn't it? Angry. But if everything is in its place, how do you feel? Very happy. You feel very content. Then you can focus on things that are important. But if the place that you're living in is so messy that it does not bring you comfort, then tell me, what can you do? You can't do anything. Similarly, this also shows to us that we should go outside of our houses and look at the creation that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created and admire it and be happy in our hearts through them. All of this creation that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created, it's not just for the farmers to look at. No, it's also for us. We must also go and look and admire so that we can be happier people. Unfortunately, we keep ourselves closed in buildings, in houses, in workplaces, in cars, in trains, in subways, and we don't go out. Go out and look what Allah has created, because it will make you happy and be happy. وَتَحْمِلُ أَثْقَالَكُمْ. And they carry your loads, meaning these animals, these an'am, they carry your loads. Athqal is a plural of saqal, saqa, lam, which is load, baggage. So what kind of loads do these animals carry? What kind of loads do these animals carry? Anything. From construction material to baggage. Like the brothers of Yusuf alayhi salam, they took their camels, their animals for what? For transporting food. So they're used for transporting food, construction material, different things. And also human beings, people. So وَتَحْمِلُ أَثْقَالَكُمْ, they carry your loads, meaning the loads that you put on them. So the goods, the stuff that you put on them, that you load them with. And أَثْقَالَكُمْ also means your own loads, meaning your bodies, your weight. These animals, they appear to be sometimes so small, like for example a donkey, and a person is sitting on it and the feet are sometimes touching the ground. So وَتَحْمِلُ أَثْقَالَكُمْ, they carry your loads. إِلَى to baladin, a land, لَمْ تَكُونُوا, you all are not, بَالِغِيهِ, ones to reach it. إِلَّا, except, بِشِقِّ الْأَنفُسِ, with difficulty of the souls. Meaning, if you yourself were to carry these things on your backs, in your hands, on your heads, it would be extremely difficult for you to transport these things. So be grateful for these animals who carry your loads for you. لَمْ تَكُونُوا بَالِغِيهِ. Balighi is actually بَالِغِينَ. And the noon has been dropped because of the ha. And it's a plural of baligh. Who is baligh? One who reaches somewhere. So you yourselves would not be able to reach those places إِلَّا بِشِقِّ الْأَنفُسِ. Shiq is trouble, difficulty. And basically, it is such fatigue that a person experiences because of physical exertion. So when you put in a lot of effort in doing something, eventually what happens? You feel tired. So that feeling of tiredness, that is called what? Shiq. Not that a person has been sleeping and then when he wakes up he says, I'm tired. No. Shiq is what? When you have been working, when you have been struggling, when you've been walking and running and going up and down and carrying heavy loads. When you physically exert, when you get tired, that is called shiq. And shiqqil anfus together gives a meaning of with great difficulty, with great hardship, with great effort. So, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created these animals for you. They don't just give you food, they don't just bring beauty, but they also carry your loads for you, which if you were to carry yourselves, it would be extremely difficult for you. Inna rabbakum, indeed your Lord, la ra'ufun, surely He is most kind, and He is rahim, He is most merciful. Notice the names that have been mentioned over here. Ra'uf and rahim. Ra'uf is from ra'fa. And what is ra'fa? It is such compassion that one feels on seeing someone in difficulty. So Allah is so kind to you that if you were to carry these loads yourselves, it would be so difficult for you. So Allah has been so kind and affectionate towards you that He provided you with these animals so you don't have to carry those loads. You don't have to experience all that difficulty yourself. And ra'fa is also such feeling in which you want to remove the difficulty from someone that they're experiencing. Like for example, if you see someone walking themselves on the street and you're driving and you have space in your car, what do you want to do? Stop and give them a ride as well. Similarly, if you see someone carrying a heavy bag, what do you want to do? Help them carry their bags. This is what ra'fa is. That when you see someone in difficulty and you want to remove that difficulty from them. Compassion, care, kind-heartedness. So indeed your Lord, He is ra'uf and He is rahim. And rahmah, when used with ra'fa, rahmah means to bring ease. So where ra'fa is to alleviate, to remove the difficulty, rahmah is to bring ease and convenience. Because sometimes you can walk yourself, but if you go on an animal, it's more convenient. Even if you're not carrying anything in your hand, if you go on an animal, it's just more convenient. So, inna rabbakum la ra'ufur rahim. This is why He has created these animals for your benefit. So in other words, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made these animals for you so that your life becomes easy. Your life becomes easy and comfortable. Now previously, when people did not have cars or other means of transportation, what would they use? These animals. But even today, you might wonder, we don't need these animals anymore. But the fact is that in many places, till today, these animals are used. Till today, they're being used. وَالْخَيْلَ, and the horses. Meaning, وَخَلَقَ, and He has also created the horses. Al-khayl is used for horses. وَالْبِغَالَ, and the mules. Bighal is a plural of baghl, ba, ghayn, lam, and it is used for a mule. What is a mule? So basically it's an animal whose mother is a horse and the father is a donkey. So how would you explain that? A mixed breed. So وَالْخَيْلَ وَالْبِغَالَ, and He has created the horses and the mules. And these mules especially, they are extremely strong. They're extremely strong. And they're used for transportation as well as for a lot of physical labor, like for example working in the fields. So وَالْخَيْلَ وَالْبِغَالَ وَالْحَمِيرَ, and the donkeys. Al-hamir is a plural of himar, and himar is a donkey. So وَالْخَيْلَ وَالْبِغَالَ وَالْحَمِيرَ, these animals, Allah has created them for you, لِتَرْكَبُوهَا, so that you all ride it, وَزِينَةً, and also as an adornment. Also as a beauty. So the first reason behind the creation of these animals is what? لِتَرْكَبُوهَا, so that you can ride them. Tarkabu from the root letters, Gha, Kaf, Ba, Rukub, which is to ride. And lam over here indicates purpose. لِتَرْكَبُوهَا. So the reason behind the creation of these animals, the main reason is what? That you use them for riding. وَزِينَةً, and they're also an adornment. Zina, it shows over here that this is a benefit that is obtained from these animals. This is not really the purpose for which they were created, because a verbal form has not been used. تَرْكَبُوهَا is a fi'l, and zinatan is an ism. If zinatan was used in a fi'l form, then it would show that yes, zina was also a purpose. But the fact that tarkabu is a fi'l and zinatan is a noun, this shows that tarkabu is a purpose and zinatan is a benefit that is obtained. It's a side benefit. So they're also means of beauty, that you ride them, and when a person is riding a horse, that scene is just so elegant. وَيَخْلُقُ, and He creates مَا لَا تَعْلَمُونَ, what you do not know. Meaning, He creates for your benefit, for your service, for your ease, for your travel, for your conveyance. He creates other things, or He will create other things, which مَا لَا تَعْلَمُونَ, which you do not know right now. So at that time before, when this was revealed, people only knew about horses and other animals which were used for conveyance purposes. However, later on, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enabled a human being to make such vehicles through which he could travel. So يَخْلُقُ مَا لَا تَعْلَمُونَ refers to all other vehicles that are man-made, which people use for transportation, for conveyance. Now, a person might say, but Allah says يَخْلُقُ, and these cars and planes, they are man-made. The fact is that who gave you this brain? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Who provided you with the ability to use these materials? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And where do you get the inspiration from anyway? From these animals that Allah has created. This is why there's a horsepower, right? There's no car power. So يَخْلُقُ مَا لَا تَعْلَمُونَ, He creates what you do not know for your conveyance. Secondly, وَيَخْلُقُ مَا لَا تَعْلَمُونَ, this is in the general sense, not just for the purpose of transportation and conveyance, but other creatures as well He has created which you have no idea about. And this is so true. New and new species, new and new creatures are discovered. Fish are discovered which were never known before. Birds are discovered which were never seen before. وَيَخْلُقُ مَا لَا تَعْلَمُونَ, you have no idea that these creatures exist. You have no idea, but Allah has created them. And يَخْلُقُ مَا لَا تَعْلَمُونَ also applies to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prepared in the hereafter. That He has created so much more in the hereafter which you have no idea about. You only know about the things in dunya, and you think they're such a big deal. What is in the hereafter is far greater. It is far better. Now over here we see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَالْخَيْلَ وَالْبِغَالَ وَالْحَمِيرَ لِتَرْكَبُوهَا وَزِينَةً. And in the previous ayah, what was mentioned? The an'am. So on one hand, the an'am are mentioned, and on the other hand, these animals are mentioned. The an'am, those animals are used for conveyance as well, like for example camels, but they're also used for eating. Now these animals, khayl, bighal, hamir. Some scholars have said that they have been mentioned separately because this shows that these animals cannot be consumed. They cannot be eaten. But rather the only purpose behind their creation is what? Riding. However, we see that this specification is not exactly accurate. Why? Because from the an'am also, there's the camel, which people ride. Isn't it so? People ride the camel. And when it comes to these animals, khayl, bighal, hamir, we know from the sunnah that horses, they are halal. As we discussed earlier, I mentioned to you in Surah Al-Ma'idah and Surah Al-An'am, that horses are permissible to eat, but when it comes to mules and donkeys, they're not allowed. Okay? So how do you understand this? That al-khayl, bighal, hamir, yes, they have been mentioned separately, but over here the classification is not being made in what is allowed to be consumed and what is not allowed to be consumed. The classification is based on the main benefit that is obtained from these animals. I mean, horses, when people think of them, what do they think of? Eating them or riding them? Riding them. But when you think of a cow, what do you think of? Eating it. Right? Recitation? Wild donkeys, yes. But when it comes to domestic, we had the discussion earlier, they're not allowed. Wild donkey, like for example, zebras.
We are already in the middle of the Quran, mashallah, and first of all, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala broke down us that look at yourself, O creation, what kind of person you are.
Yes.
And once a person is broken, then it's easy to start giving the ni'mah. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has started mentioning, look at that. And it's a beautiful way to make someone to be more submissive towards the commandments of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Yes. That look at all the blessings that Allah has given you and look at yourself. What are you? You are nothing without Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's ra'fa and rahmah on you. And the names that are mentioned, Ra'uf and Rahim, that He's so compassionate and kind towards you, that He has made your life easy through these animals. If He wanted, you would have been carrying all these loads yourself. But He has created these animals and He has made them humble before you so that you can use them. Look at the kindness and compassion that Allah has for you. Like for example, if a parent sees their child walking to school, taking the bus all the time, walking all the way to the bus stop and taking so long, if they can afford a car, what will they do? They will get a car immediately. Why? To make the life of their child easy. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is far more merciful. That He has created for our benefit many, many animals, in which is not just ease and convenience, but also food and beauty in those animals for us.